Before Wizards' Jordan Poole, he was the baddies' GOAT. Gee, are there no baddies in DC? Or wait, I guess not. But in all seriousness, Jordan Poole is a hot topic of discussion these days, and it seemingly has only grown louder as the past few months have gone on. He's in a slump, no doubt, but can he revive himself like he once did in the past? See, during his rookie season with the Golden State Warriors in the 2019-2020 campaign, he posted an average of just 8.8 points per game, so no one noticed JP or even thought twice about it. But in the following season, Poole's scoring average surged to 12 points per game, including 10 games of 20 points or more, showing flashes of what was soon to come. And at the same time, Jordan Poole's growth as a three-point shooter played a huge role in his unexpected rise to becoming the third member of the Splash Triplets, featuring him, Steph, and Klay. And so, the momentum was rising for Poole, which was also evident in how much he was being featured out on the court. And what also worked in favor for Poole was Klay Thompson's long absence. I mean, think hard about it. If Klay's there all along and doesn't sustain those injuries, does Poole ever get a chance to shine the way he did? Well, the answer to that is probably no. And let me not fail to mention that his growing confidence, his increasingly bigger role, and his increasing minutes led him to quickly turn into the NBA's best free throw shooter. Yes, even better than the guy on his team wearing number 30. He was becoming a household name, and someone Warriors fans couldn't believe fell to them at the 28th pick in the draft. As time went on, Poole eventually turned into the Warriors' second-best scoring option on their way to winning another NBA championship. In fact, most people would have told you at the time that the Warriors would not have even reached the NBA Finals if it weren't for Poole's impressive playoff run in 2022. The 2021-22 NBA season was proof that the Warriors had a new piece to both the current and future puzzle. Even as recently as the start of just this past season's playoffs, the team, led by Steve Kerr, was siding with Poole and calling him a foundational piece. The Warriors have their piece for the future, and Jordan Poole might just win Golden State the 2024 NBA championship. Hooray! Oh, my bad. I thought it was 2022 again. But speaking of 2022, the issue started for Poole then. On top of his big contract took him to a whole different place mentally. He felt like he was the man. He felt like he should be valued as the other Golden State superstars. Now, I know numbers don't always tell you the biggest picture. Some of these numbers scream the sad reality. See, in 2023, yes, Poole averaged 2 more points per game than the previous season and played in all 82 games, with half of those games being played as a starter. But his field goal percentage came down considerably. His free throw percentage, though still elite, was far off from what it was a year earlier, and his three-point percentage dropped significantly while his turnovers surged to up to over 3 a game. For a $140 million man, these were far from the numbers the Warriors were expecting. This was supposed to be the season the Warriors would start to make a slow transition from their dynastic core to the young players on the team, led by Jordan Poole. And then there's the elephant in the room, the time Draymond punched Poole before the start of the season. Sure, it became a huge distraction and the Warriors weren't ever quite able to rebound from such a glaringly bad moment, but look, this was a guy who was a late first-round draft choice after he was profiled as a skilled but flawed college player. He took his talents to the NBA, but was sent down to the G League shortly thereafter. And then he got the call back up, started lighting up the NBA with some sick performances, and won a championship. Oh, maybe that's what he was whispering in Draymond's ear. Well, of course, before Draymond then came over and launched an iron fist his way. But perhaps Jordan Poole celebrated too soon and thought he had made it when he still had some ways to go. And so, he felt like he was the man, wanted to become a full-time starter and flex his muscles on a team that was just coming off a championship. And that's when things would get worse. Because when the 2023 postseason started, Poole was looking to carry the momentum he caught from last season's playoffs when he took the world by storm. But instead, his lack of improvement throughout the season and unwillingness to be patient in his development reared its ugly head. He had a couple of terrible no-shows in the first round against the Sacramento Kings when his weakness became more evident with the world now watching. The coaching staff was looking sideways at his decisions and shot selection. Poole's frustration began ramping up, and so did his attitude. Because after a game against the Lakers in the following round, which he scored 0 points, the aftermath transitioned into a messy locker room situation with Jordan Poole at the center of it all. How do you think Jordan Poole felt as someone who got a huge payday and was expected to hit another dimension in his game? to now having his lowest moments in some of the biggest moments of the season with the world watching. These weren't random regular season games with nothing to lose. There was a ton of pressure to live up to expectations. These were the NBA playoffs, but as bad as that was, it was only getting worse. Why? Because Jordan Poole was heading into a long offseason with his name swirling all over the media, and with many people out there blaming him for the Warriors' vast shortcomings throughout the seasons. All we heard about for a good month or two was where will the Warriors trade Poole? Well, we got our answer about it a month and a half later when the Warriors not shockingly traded Jordan Poole, but shockingly chose to acquire a nearly 40-year-old point guard to take his place. And I, like many others, was like, huh? You gave up a kid with huge potential for an often banged-up last legs version of Chris Paul. Are my eyes playing tricks on me, or is this actually happening? Yeah, well, it was actually happening. And speaking of the Warriors, hey, not just reporting this or anything, just a guess. But I think the Warriors somewhere deep down wish they had that spark plug off the bench like they had with Poole in previous seasons. While it looked like the Warriors couldn't reconcile the Draymond-Poole situation, I mean, with how bad Draymond has looked this year, are we sure the Warriors chose the right guy? Let me know in the comments down below what you think. And look, about the whole Draymond thing. Draymond Green has officially decided to retire, or so he thought about it before Commissioner Adam Silver supposedly talked him out of retiring. You see, the NBA said in a statement that his suspension was deserved in the light of a history of unsportsmanlike conduct from Draymond. Yeah, they just called the man the dirtiest player ever without actually saying it. But the biggest storyline here isn't exactly about Draymond serving his suspension and coming back. The thing is, people are taking Draymond to task for playing victim and acting like a sympathetic figure. I mean, it is reasonable to ask, how did Draymond go from socking guys in the face to being the NBA's victim darling? Am I missing something? And in turn, this distraction has proven to be way worse than what the Warriors would have had. Had they kept Poole around and tried working on some mutual on-court relationship with Draymond so they could keep their distance and just play ball. Better yet, I know some Warriors fans are just straight up regretting they lost Poole instead of Draymond. And I can't fault them for saying that. Yes, Poole is a Wizard and has had an up and down season for the most part. And he's still early into his Wizards tenure, I know. But Jordan Poole is off to an underwhelming start, averaging just 17 points and shooting an atrocious 42% from the floor and just 32% from three. While he's obviously proven he's a much better shooter than those numbers show, he just hasn't been able to string together any level of consistency this season. And again, a lot of it has to do with his decision-making and the mental game. See, as a player who's won a championship in a featured role, we don't expect plays like these. In crunch time, as the main ball handler, Poole dissects the defense because he is really talented at doing that. But as the defense collapses, check out the open man at the bottom right of your screen. And I can't go any further without mentioning the mental lapses he'll have from time to time. Like, look at this play.
Very good defender. Jordan Poole to the baseline. Tried to scoop it up, and Asar Thompson came from.
The way he moves and isolates is really good, but when he makes his move, he gets so indecisive that he goes from making a potentially awesome play to potentially being the top candidate for Shaq'd and a fool. If Poole was a rook, maybe a second-year player, fine. We can live with that. But he's been at it for 5 seasons. He's got to do better. If he doesn't, well, then what's the title of this video? How bad Jordan Poole is, right? The answer is he's quite bad if he doesn't pull his head out and remain level-headed. But if he corrects that major flaw of his, well, then we'll be asking what we were asking a couple years ago. How great can this kid actually be? And to be honest, I still believe greatness is in the cards for Jordan Poole. He just has a lot of mental work to do, and the efficiency numbers back me up on that. Boneheaded players are notorious for shooting horribly from the field. JP can't even throw the ball into the ocean right now. But of course, I can't pin my claims without hearing yours first. Let me know what you think about Jordan Poole and his status in the NBA right now. Do you agree that he can be really good if he regains his senses? Or is stardom out of reach for the young Jordan Poole?